You're welcome once again to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about parameters. The beauty about parameters is that parameters allow you a dynamic container to manipulate events. All right, having said that, another thing you need to know about parameters are that parameters exist at the workbook level. So when I create a parameter right now, I can reuse it literally across all the worksheets if I need to. Yeah. So it's not restricted to the worksheet, it goes across the entire workbook. Now, the third thing you need to know about parameters is that the steps to use a parameter include: one, first, you create a parameter. The second thing you need to do after you create a parameter is the fact that you show the parameter, at least you see what you have created. And thirdly, what you could do is you create a calculated field. And then the last one is that you use a parameter. So these are basically the steps in using a parameter. Now, step 2 is optional, and so is step 3. So both 2 and 3 are optional cases. Got it? Awesome. Now keep these 4 steps at the back of your mind as we get started. All right? So we're going to go out from here. Now, next thing is we're going to look at this. Let's see how we can filter by top 10 in terms of subcategory. So first we drag subcategory in here and we go to top. Now we're going to go to field and we could say, make this fixed a 7. Yeah, so by sales, we're looking at top 7 by sales and we apply. Yeah. So that works really nicely. But the challenge with this is it's not dynamic. Once it's been done, it's cast. Only the first 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if we want to create a dynamic experience, what we could do is edit this. And instead of using a 7, you drop that down and say create a new parameter. Okay, that's created. So we're going to call it the top end parameter. Yeah. Now, there are many ways to go about, 3 ways you can go about this. One, you could go with allow all. It's an integer. You could allow any number at all. You could restrict it to allow just maybe 5, yeah, 10, 15, and perhaps 20. Yeah, you could restrict it to go with this. Or alternatively, you could actually give it to a range where the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 20. You could as well influence what the minimum is, and you can as well influence what the maximum is. But in this case, for today, we're going to leave it as all, meaning allow all numbers, really. Yeah? And then we're going to say, okay. Now, you see, top end, we're going with sales sum. So it's created that top end, it saved it. Yeah. So we're going to apply. Once you apply that, watch out, it's going to, and then okay. Now, you can see that one was a number there. Now let's look at this. It has created the parameter top end. It's created it there. Okay. So now, you know, it said the first step is what? Create. Second step is show. Third step is pre-calculated field. And the fourth is use. So for the very 4th steps, we show. Let's show the parameter. We can change this to 10. And it will show the top 10. And we can change this to 5. And we can change this to 5. And it will show the top 5. All right, secondly, we'll be looking at how to use parameters to create band filters. So look at this example here by this beautiful work which I replicated from Ganges. Look at this. So you can click on these icon, and then you could choose a date. So let's say sometime in, click on this, then shift the date sometime here, and perhaps shift this somewhere here. Okay, good stuff. Now, because of that band, it changes the narration completely on this dashboard. Yeah, just because of that filter band. So let's see how we can replicate something similar, how to use parameters to create an experience like that. Okay. Now, so we go to Tableau, and then we have these experience. The very first thing you are going to do is to create a parameter. And so you create a new parameter here, create a new parameter, sorry. You create a new parameter, you give it a name, you could call the name from date. Yeah. You're going to create it, you give it a date. Yeah. So it's a date type, give it a type, and then we use all. Now, when you use all, what you can do is you okay it. So, okay, I wouldn't okay mine because I already have one saved. So, same thing. So, I have mine saved here. From date, yeah, okay, all, and I say okay. In the same way, you create another date, another parameter called to date. So it looks like this: to date parameter, date, display, current date, value, yeah. So same date, all, and you say, okay, good. Now, after you've done these two, you could come here and say show parameter. You want to see what it looks like. Again, you can come here and say show parameter. Now, when you say show parameter, it pops up on the right-hand side. Look, now here you can manipulate what goes in here. So I'm going to change this to January the 1st. Okay, lovely. And likewise, I'm going to change this to perhaps October the 30th. Awesome. Now, so between January the 1st to October the 30th. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is to go to Analytics. And I want to create a reference band. So I'm going to drag a reference band here. And where do I drop it? I'm going to drop it on the day other. Yeah. So on the other date, I want to drop it here on a band like a pen. Yeah. Good stuff. Now, when these opens, I'm going to change the from the band date. So here, I'm going to take it to the parameter from. Yep. Good. Label, I will leave it as value. And then here you could influence how tooltip goes on. But for today, I wouldn't even do anyone. I could leave it as automatic so you can see it for yourself. Then you go from here, you go to tool dates. Again, I would leave it as what? Computation. I take it to value and leave to the automatic. You can influence the format of the line, the color of the line, the field, and then you go okay. Now you see it picks up that value from here, which is 1st of January to 30th of January, and puts a band there. That allows someone to focus on your chart. Perhaps there is something you really want to draw the person's attention to in that period. It draws the person right in there. On the alternative, like the V's that I just showed to you, you can, I'm going to remove these reference band, remove the reference band. So I'm going to create a calculated field. So create calculated field. In the calculated field, I'm going to call the calculated field, I will call the calculated field date band. And this is what I'm going to do to it. If other date other date, which is the date here, greater than or equals to the from date. Yeah. And other date is less than or equals to the to date, then sales. So I want to see the sum of sales. I only want to see sum of sales between this period and this period. Okay. Now I have that. What do you do? The date band. So I'm going to look for it. Date band. Date band. I'll drag it and drop it on the filter. Apply. Okay. Now I'm going to edit that. Edit filter. So that's supposed to be a date band, and I'm going to do, okay, cancel that. Dates, so set this on date and time. Yeah. So I'll drag these in here. It picks up the right date, applies it. Okay. Now, if you look at what the chart has done, the chart has limited. Yeah, it limits the chart. Previously, I'm going to take this off for now. Previously, you had a chart that began somewhere here in January 2021. But when we pull this into this place and we applied it, okay, the chart begins where in January 2022 and ends where in October 30th, 2022. We can go here and change this to 2021, and then the chart will increase. So this way, we kind of have a similar experience to what we had earlier on here, where you could use the date filter, the parameters to create filters by changing what happens here. So it's pretty much exactly the same thing. All right, the third one is using parameters to sort stacked bars. Using parameters to sort stacked bars. Yeah, if you look at these, you will agree with me that these are stacked bars. Yeah, so we have sum of sales against subcategory with colors from the regions. Now, let's say you want to be able to use this to sort the stacked bars, and there are two benefits of achieving this experience. One of them will be, so let's start with the very first one. To get the first one done, we're going to create a parameter from this field. So I'm going to be on region, and then I'm going to drop it down, and I would say create parameters. Now, one thing that region parameter is a string, because region is a string. It takes the current value of central, current value, so it populates, you see, it populates everything there. Now, if you want to create this parameter to be dynamic, such that if a new data set enters, so that if a new region is created, it will dynamically see that, then what you could do is set it at when workbook opens. So when workbook opens, it should go to regions and populate the value from there, basically. So it will go to regions, that field, populate the value from there. Yeah. But if you want to stick with what you already have now, just stick with fixed. But let's make it a dynamic parameter, and we say, okay. Now, having said that, what we can do now is come to the region field. Let's create a calculated field. So we're going to say sum. So if region, so region equals to then sales. And so basically what you're saying is, if, container will carry one value at a time. So if the value carried by the containers at that time is equals to the region we selected, then sales. Now we're going to net this into what? A sum statement. So sum. What should we call this? We'll just call this selected region sale. Selected region sale. Okay, apply this. Okay, now we're going to come to the region here at color and set it up and say sort. Okay, awesome. Field. So field, what field should we use? We're going to use the field called selected region sales. Got it? You can go with descending, you could go with ascending, depending on what resonates with you. Now, when you go with this, you can see that the greens will all take the bottom corner. You could show this parameter. Now, whatever parameter you show, so let's say you go with south. South will come at the top as well. I could go back here, edit the sort. So I'm going to sort, set it to ascending. Yeah. So ascending. Now, if I go with what? West, east for now, east is gold. So everything here will be gold. And then it goes that way. If I go with what? South, then everything here will be what? South. The bottom will be south. So this is one way you could use to kind of visually see which of the southern, which category in the south gave us the best value. Visually, we can tell that machines were the best things that we sold from the south. Now, but again, you may want to go and then also sort it in this regard. So sort, turn this around. So again, I'm going to go with what? Field. When I go with field, the next thing I could go with here is same selected region sales. And then you say, okay. The beauty of this is that beyond just arranging it, it arranges phones. It arranges it, it ties it to what? South. So south, the sum of sales will, see the drill, it blends that out first. So you see, if you are looking at the south, you can see phones were the best, machines were second, chairs were third, tables were fourth, binders were fifth, and that kind of picture. And also, if you're looking at what? The west, you can see chairs were the highest sold category, phones were second, and all of that. So this is very good when you're dealing with stacked bars, stacked bar charts. We have been busy looking at one dimension or measure to a row or column. Like right now we have subcategories against sales. Yeah. So, but there are times when you want to be able to have a dynamic experience at either the subcategory level, at the dimension level, or at the what? Measure level. So to create a dynamic experience, we can use parameters for these. So let's create a dynamic experience with the measures. First, what will we do? Well, the first thing to do is you create a parameter. So we've created a parameter here already. It's called select measure. Now we've created a parameter here, select measure. it's a string. The current value is sales. So we have two values in it, sales and profit. Again, sales and profit. And then we're going to say, okay, so we created this. Now, the second step in using parameters is what? You show that. Now, if you use this, nothing really happens. So what is the next step in using parameters? The very next step after you show is you create a calculated field. Again, in this case, that will be something you would want to do. So we come here and we create a calculated field. You can come here, calculated field, click on it and then open one. So we create one, we call it selected measure. Selected measure. Here, what we do is we use the case statement. Now, if you want to look more about the case statement, it's a very similar thing to the if-then statement. Really interesting function. So what do we say? We say case. The parameter, you see the parameter? Parameters are often colored purple. Look at them, purple. So we said case select measure. When the measure there is profit, then go for what? Profit. If the measure there is sales, then go for what? Sales. All right, good stuff. Now we're going to say, okay, that. Now, after having gotten this, we can now drag this select measure and then drop it on the column. I'll take this off. I'll take off the sale and I'll let that go. Now, again, watch this. When I change this from sales to profits, it gives me the profit side of the business. So shares for one here was 22. In for profits, shares is 27,224. Whereas for sales, shares was 335,768. Now, you may want to be able to see this a lot better, so be able to make more sense of this. So to do so, I'll pick up the parameter select measure and drop it in colors. Now you see the blue now will be for sales. Let's see, when we turn it to profit, a different color for profit. You could choose a color for this experience. Yeah, that best suits that experience. So you could use it, whatever color you would prefer. You could as well use what you call divergent colors. So let's try one of those divergent colors here. Which should we go for? So let's looking for one. Okay, yeah, so divergent colors. Yeah, so okay. So divergent colors. Just this. So you can use for profit, we're going to use so. Okay, so you use this red for color for these. Now, when you turn this again back towards sales, you have the blue. Good. Now, you may be like, I want to see more. I want more. Now, we could do something here. Come to the title, clean off this, and then you could call this category by insert. You bring the parameter select measure. You could select these, turn this around to this, make it bolder, apply it. So category by sales, when we flip that, okay, you've got category by profit. Make sense? All right. Speaking of another good use of parameters, I believe you may have seen filters used in dashboard. For example, I want to bring in a regional filter here. I could drop this down, bring in a filter. So where is it? Filters, region, yeah? Now here is it, the regional column. Now, but the good thing is you can change this and you will have like a drop down. But you see, it may not be very neat this way because you have the region here. Then you have to come here open that and then pick the region you want to use as filter, which you could want to use it, but if you want to make it a neater experience, like look at this experience where you have the region nested inside here, you could drop. You have regions, you can choose from the region. When you're on region, everything pulls up. And then when you want to narrow in, you could use any of these, let's say Southeast as a filter, and that will filter the entire dashboard. So we could try one more West, and that will filter the entire dashboard. Okay, now having done that, let's take that experience one step further. So to achieve these sort of filters, what would you do? The very first thing to do in that case is, I'm going to take this off. So you look at these, you can filter by Southeast. You can filter by South Central. We don't have anything in South Central Mississippi Valley. Okay, so pretty much that way. Now, let's go back to regions and then see how we can achieve this. First, how do we go about that? I'm going to go to a worksheet, open a worksheet. You're going to go to regions and then come here and you're going to say create. From here, you say create parameter. Now, when you create the parameter from regions, you see it populates all of this. It's a string. It populates all the region. Again, you could play with either fixed or when workbook opens. Now, whichever way you choose to go by it, I already have one created here. So that's it. Now, beyond what the natural, so you see, I have a field here called regions. A field here called regions. I'm going to show you how I achieve that. So when you come here and created parameter, you would not have a field called region. Look at this. It's not there anywhere. So what I'm going to do is to type a new field called region. And be careful what you use here. What you use, you pay attention to what you type. So region, yeah? And then you say, okay, I can say current value, I would set mine to what? Region, because that's where all the value will come in. Yeah, I don't want to narrow it. Cancel. I already have it here, so I won't do it again. Now, after that, you're going to go to what? Create what? A calculated field. I'll take this off. I already have done that here for you. Edit. So I'm going to call it a region filter. Okay, good stuff. Now, what are you going to say? You're going to say region, which is the field, equals to region parameter. When region is equal to region parameter, it means filter that region, yeah? Now, otherwise, if region is equals to what? Regions. Now, if this parameter is equals to this parameter. Now, when this happens, you know that regions we took? It means everything. If this happens, it means filter to specifics. Yeah. So it's either this option or this is the general option where everything populates. Okay. Now you drag that in. You see, I'm going to drag that in. You drag that in here. Now, when you drag that in here, you're going to have options. So you're going to take true. Yeah. When you check the true, you say apply. When you apply that, when you come to the V's, for example, like this, and then you filter by white space region, you see it affects everything. Now, the good thing that you need to always remember here is that we've put, like, for instance, every worksheet here has the region filter. That's it, the region filter, see it here. Now, the next thing is every other worksheet has the region filter. So whenever we change the region, it affects the entire worksheet. Again, one more thing, I'm going to change to Southwest Central. It affects the entire worksheet. I'm going to change to Mid-Atlantic. It affects the entire worksheet. Mississippi, and then I could come back to what the full regional experience. Okay, so that's a good way that we have it here again. Yeah, we have it here. So a very good way to use parameters again. The last really good use for parameters that we're going to capture today, the last use of parameters that we're going to capture in this video today is the art of sheet swapping. Even though this has become a lot easier with the new dynamic zone visibility, but it's good that I just show you what is possible with parameters. Now look at this. When I swap this from line to bars, I can move an entire new sheet into this space. When I do the same thing here, lines, and then I can bring in another sheet here. Now, how do we start? The first one is a line chart. The second one is a bar chart. Now, so what's the first step that we do? We create a parameter. How do you create parameter? You come here, create parameter. So I've created one already, so I'm just going to open it. It's a string parameter. It's the values are, I have a list, line, bars. You can make it as many as you want to make it. You can add a whole lot more here. Now, after you've done that, you click OK. Now, what you do is the next step for parameter is what? You show parameter. Yeah? So you show the parameter, and there you go, you have it. The next thing to do after that is you create a calculated field. Yeah, I've done one already, so I'm just going to open it. What do you call it? I called my own selected measure. Now, selected measure, I said case, sorry. I called my own sheet swap. So in the sheet swap, I just simply I dragged in the parameters, very easy. Now, you know, parameters hold one value at a time. So it means sheet swap can only hold one value at a time. And I said, okay. Now that I have a calculated field, I can drag in my calculated field into the filter. Yeah. And it's there. And when I come in here, this is the line chart. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to look for it. Type it here, line. Yeah, so it's line. You see the line here and the line here, same spelling as you can see. Add it. All right, apply. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the bar, drag in the same sheet swap, same. And here, what do I do? I'm going to come to custom value list. Yeah. So what do I want to do? It's called bars. I'm going to just call it bar, and I'm going to add it. So it means whenever you have bar, this sheet should come alive. Apply. Apply. Then say okay. Yeah. So let's check the spelling, bars. So that won't work. So I'm going to drop these, open this up, type in a new one. Type in a new one, bars, add it. Close this. No, I'm going to remove these again. Yeah. Bars. Are you there? Add it. Apply. Apply. Okay. Now, having gotten up to that point, then you can come here and then you can swap. Now, when you come to the dashboard, so you open a new dashboard, the line, you drag it into the same container. They have to be in the same container. Yeah, now they are in the same container. What can you get out of here. Now, when you come here, you could open up that parameter, like this is a parameter, the sheet swapping. Yeah. Now, if you set that to line, the line will show up. Now, if you set that to bars, the bars will show up. Yeah. Yeah. Now, so this is a very good way for you to what? Have your sheets swapped. But the next video, I'm going to show you how to do this very beautifully with a new function called the dynamic zone visibility. Yeah. But thank you very much for watching, and then do like, subscribe, and then let us know in the chat what else you would like us to prepare content for you on. Thank you.